Time to go.
Coming to you live from the heart of Melbourne, it's Studio A with Tommy Little. Starring John Campbell, Luke McGregor, Nick Cody, Carl Chandler, Xavier Michaelides, and Tegan Higginbotham.
Tonight on Studio A, Triple J's Tom Ballard, Francesca Martinez, stand-up from Amir Rahman, and music from Oscar and Martin. And now, please welcome your host, Tommy Little.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Studio A. If they say TV is magic, then this is the show that's the guy doing card tricks on the side of the street going, please give me $1, please give me $1. How are you all, guys? Are you well? Yeah, thanks for coming down. It's lovely to see you all here. As you know, it is the middle of the comedy festival, so forgive us if some of these jokes are undercooked. Let's see how we go. First up in news this week, of course, a church in Romsey conducted the first ever service combining Christianity and sci-fi. Did you guys hear about this? Yeah. People came dressed up as Wookiees and Jedis, and they said it was great because finally they could combine their love of fantasy with their love of fantasy. And of course, thank you, madam. 1 clap, 2 claps, we can build from there. I can see the parallels between the two, right? I can see why they do this. After all, the church teaches abstinence, and a love of sci-fi pretty much guarantees the same, so I can really see how this would work. In other news this week, I don't know if you guys saw this, AFL footballer Andrew Cracker received criticism this weekend after he made a jail salute after kicking a goal. He went like this, right? His excuse that he was just in fact warming up for the celebrity edition of Deal or No Deal was seen as a desperate act at best. But Collingwood released a statement about the jail salute he made, saying that if you were in the crowd and you were offended, then spare a thought for the players who had to witness his other salute in the showers after the game. Okay. Harsh but fair. Well done. You've sat there and you've gone, you know what, I really like the first one. That second one, In other news now, over to America, a 15-month-old boy was rushed to hospital this week after he was accidentally served alcohol in a kid's meal at Applebee's restaurant, right? The mother said she knew something was wrong when the little boy began to slur his words, sing K-San, and began pinching waitresses on the arse. It was then that she tasted what was in the little boy's sipper cup, and she realised that where there was meant to be apple juice, there was in fact margarita. She said that nobody at the table ordered an alcoholic drink, so if she gets charged extra for that, she's going to be really pissed off. The baby actually had to go to hospital. It's fine, but it had to go to hospital when it was discovered that it had an alcohol reading of 0.10, 2 times the legal driving limit. Why the cops mentioned the legal driving limit when dealing with a 1-year-old makes me ask the question, how good must this kid's fake ID be? In other news this week, a new cologne has been released. It's entitled Bacon, and the fragrance is made to smell like the meat, right? And it's made for men, and it's said to excite the opposite sex. So look, have a look for this if you don't believe for yourself. There it is. When asked who the target audience would be, the makers replied, we're going after fat pigs who want to smell like fat pigs. And that was better than their other suggestion, which said we could target this at guys who love to pork chicks. However, I agree. I agree. However, the product has already got at least one celebrity endorsement, with rugby player Joel Monahan saying, finally, a cologne I can put on my balls that won't scare my dog off. You guys think that's gross, right? What you don't know, some of you, is that Joel Monahan is the player that got photographed with his dog licking his balls, so it's a lot grosser than you actually thought, right? Finally, in news this week, madam at the front, you look disgusted, sir, you look confused. Let's move on. Finally, in news this week, a plan to boost safety at train stations could see protective services officers deployed before the end of the year. If you guys haven't heard about these guys, they're basically officers that will have the same powers as police, minus the training, right? They'll be given the powers of arrest and also guns. Finally. Finally. The majority of infringements at train stations are fare evasion, smoking, littering, and vandalism, and I think guns are exactly what's needed to deal with these issues. No ticket, shot. Throwing rubbish, shot in the face. Tagging, shot in the face, then once more in the crutch, just for good measure. I've started to learn that this isn't about safety. This is just an elaborate scheme to tackle overcrowding on trains. Dead people can't complain about cancelled services, and Metro know that, right? Police received 23 weeks training, followed by a further 10 weeks on the job training. These protective services officers will receive just 8. And in sticking with the ethos of the transport system, will only show up to half that, and when they do actually show up, they'll be consistently late and smell like stale piss. But my question is, why don't they just get more police? I mean, if a meal needs gravy, then you should make more gravy. You know what I'm saying? Don't just mix dirt with water because it's cheaper and looks the same. Now, if you heard that and you think, you know what, that's unfair to compare dirty water with Met Cops and protective services officers, you're right, I agree. I'd much rather drink a glass of dirty water than have a conversation with a Met Cop. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a great show for you tonight. We have from Triple J, Tom Ballard, all the way from the UK, Francesca Martinez of Extras, also comedy from one half of Fear of the Brown Planet, and a live performance from Oscar and Martin. It's going to be a huge show, and let's not forget about you guys, our studio audience.